Hey guys, what's up? It's Amy here. Today I'm going to be talking about sustainable fashion and then 10 different ways that you can shop more sustainably, because I think it's really important, especially in this day and age, considering how much of a negative impact the fashion industry has in this world. I think that these are just little things that you can do without just like completely changing your lifestyle that can kind of just put you on a more greener path in life. So my definition of sustainable fashion is getting clothing and like accessories that have the lowest impact on the earth possible, and this includes everything, not just like the final product, but also how it was made, the pollution that was involved in the making of it, the fabric it's made from, and then also just like how you get to it, and then like how long it's gonna last, so that even if you buy something that's sustainable, if it lasts you like 2 weeks and then you have to replace it, then that's not very sustainable, because it means you're gonna have to keep buying more of it. So I think when it comes to sustainable fashion, there are different like parts of the chain line of a piece of clothing that you can focus on, or that you can look at to see if something is sustainable, and you want to get something that has the least impact on all the different fronts of the clothing and its impact on the earth. So now I'm going to share with you guys 10 different ways that you can shop more sustainably, and I definitely think you don't have to implement all of these in like 5 days. Definitely pick the ones that are the easiest for you and the ones that you think will have the greatest impact based on your shopping habits right now. The first one is fast fashion, and just like Xing it out of your life, like no more fast fashion. This is probably the hardest one because fast fashion is like regular for everybody. I think it's just like a regular way to shop, just like going to Forever 21 and all these other stores. It's just how we shop for clothing these days. But just like trying to get yourself to shop less, and if you can, to just stop shopping at fast fashion sites and stores is probably the biggest one, because of the impact that they have on this earth. I think fast fashion is just really detrimental to the earth and the environment. So just trying to see if you can shop less at these kinds of stores and shop more at ethical stores or like thrifting and stuff like that will definitely have a huge impact on the earth. And there's actually a really good definition of fast fashion that I saw on Good On You, and I think they have an app too, and they kind of show you different ethical brands. I think their definition of fast fashion is really great, and let me just read it to you guys. Fast fashion can be defined as cheap, trendy clothing that samples ideas from catwalk or celebrity culture and turns them into garments in high street stores at breakneck speed. And just like that definition shows you the problem with fast fashion easily, because it's not very sustainable just based on how fast they make clothes and how fast you have to like keep buying new clothes and just throwing it away because it's out of fashion. So definitely try to see if you can eliminate or just like lower the amount of fast fashion that you purchase, and you will have a great impact on the earth. The second one is to order online, and when I heard this, I was really skeptical. This didn't make sense to me, because I assumed that going to a physical store is a lot more sustainable, because like when you shop online, like all the packaging and stuff and like the plane that they had to use to ship the thing to you. But like doing a little bit more research, it kind of made sense to me, because when you buy something from a store, it had to be shipped to the store to begin with. So when you buy something online, it's kind of like skipping that step of going to the store, and then when you buy online, it just comes shipped straight. It gets shipped straight to you. But when you go to a store, like usually you're gonna have to drive to the store, and then that's using gas to get to the store. So when you buy something online, you actually have a lower impact on the earth because of the fact that there's less steps to get it to you, and even with the packaging, it had to be packaged to get to the store anyways. So it honestly makes more sense if you think about it. So definitely shopping online, which is probably gonna make a lot of people happy to hear, because I don't know about you, but sometimes going to a physical store is just a lot of a hassle. So definitely shop more online, and you will be getting a little bit greener in your life. That kind of didn't make sense. Why did I say that? The third one is to look at what your clothing is made of, because I honestly never thought about this, but different fabrics have different impacts, and usually if something is synthetic, it's probably gonna have it's gonna be more detrimental to the earth, because of the fact that they have to create it, and usually they make it up chemicals, and chemicals are like toxic, not just for us but also the earth. Some of the fabrics that I saw are detrimental are polyester, acrylic, and viscose, if that's how you pronounce it. And there are also probably others. I'll link the article down below that I was reading about like different fabrics that are detrimental to the earth, and usually if it's synthetic, it's gonna be bad. And then even with like natural things, try to stay away from like furs and like leather, of course, because they're made from animals, which also is just like not good for the earth. And then the final tip when it comes to like what your clothing is made of is to try to like get something that's organic if you can, because organically made things are gonna have the least amount of chemicals that are used to make the fabric. So if it's organic, then it's not gonna have as many chemicals, which is not just good for the earth, it's also good for you, because chemicals give you a lot of illnesses, like they give you cancer. So if you try to stay away from things that are chemically processed, then it will be good for the earth and for you. The fourth one is kind of along the lines of what it's made of, and try to get things that are made from like recycled fabrics and recycled materials. I know there are different companies that I've heard of that use fabrics that were gonna be like thrown away and make their clothing out of that, or like redone, where they take like old jeans and redo them and like just like create something out of something that was already there. And then there's also like, I don't know how they do it, but they literally make like sweaters and stuff out of plastic materials. And one brand that I've heard that does this is Everlane. They have like a collection of like sweaters and stuff, and they're made out of like recycled plastic and recycled like water bottles and like just different kinds of recycled plastic, which I think is really cool. And the reason that this is awesome is because when you recycle something, it could have ended up in the landfill. Instead, you purpose it into something new, and it's really great, because throwing something away, it'll be there forever, but if you recycle it, then it can be actually used and have a purpose rather than just sitting in a landfill just like chilling for no reason. The fifth one is probably the easiest for most people, and it is to thrift things. And the reason that this is so easy is because it's honestly just shopping, but it has such a huge impact on being more sustainable, because when something is, it's kind of like recycling, because if you go to a thrift store, you're buying something that has already been made, so it's there already, like it didn't have to be remade for you to buy it. So when you buy something that's thrifted, it's kind of like recycling, like I said. And then the other reason that thrifting is so awesome is because a lot of the clothing that gets sent to thrift stores that gets donated actually ends up in the landfill. So when you buy things that are thrifted, you kind of keep them from ending up in the landfill. And honestly, it's a lot of fun anyways, so this is just a great tip for most people. I think it's the easiest to implement, so if you're trying to find ways to be more sustainable when you're shopping, start with thrifting, because it's honestly so easy, and it's also really cheap, because a lot of the other like ethically made and sustainably made clothing can be really expensive. So if you can just thrift, it'll make your life so much easier and cheaper. So definitely start with this tip if you don't know where to begin and you honestly don't have a lot of money. The sixth one is also really easy. I mean, I guess it depends on who you are, but it's just to buy less things, because this is like the first step of like the I think it's like 5 R's, like refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle, rot. So this is the second, reduce. So buying less stuff is awesome, because if you don't buy something, then they don't have to make something else to replace the thing you just bought. So when you reduce the amount of clothing, and honestly the amount of anything that you buy, you're just making it harder for these brands to just keep putting out a lot of clothing, because they will go out of business, because they can't just like keep replacing things that haven't been bought yet. So definitely try to see if you can reduce the amount of clothing you buy and only keep it at the things that you actually love and use. I tried having a capsule wardrobe, but it turns out I'm not very good at it, because I don't know, I love like switching out what I'm wearing. So you honestly don't have to have a capsule wardrobe. If you can, that's awesome, but just reduce the amount of clutter that you are having, because I had a lot of clothes that I don't wear, and that's the stuff I got rid of, but I kept all the stuff that I do wear. And as long as the stuff that you have is great and you love it and you wear it, that's awesome. But don't keep buying things that you know you're not gonna wear. So just like reduce the amount of clutter that you're bringing into your house and into your like closet, because it's just gonna end up being replaced, and then the thing that you bought is not gonna be used. So it's like, it just doesn't make sense. So try to see if you can reduce the amount of clothing that you buy so that it doesn't need to be replaced, and more and yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to say. And then 7, going along with reducing, and I think I kind of touched on this, but it is to kind of declutter. And the reason that decluttering is really important in being more sustainable is because it kind of reduces your temptation. And let me explain this in the simplest way possible. Let's say you have 50 items of clothing, 25 you love, 25 you hate and you never wear. As you're going through your closet trying to find what you wear, you're gonna find a lot of the stuff that you don't like, and you're gonna feel like you don't have enough clothes that you like. So you're gonna go to the store and buy more clothes, and like to make it feel like you have clothes that you'll actually wear. But you're just adding more to the clutter, and you're gonna make it even harder to find the clothes that you actually do love to wear. Instead, if you only have half of that and you have 25 pieces of clothing, but you love all of them, when you look at your closet, you're gonna feel like you have a lot, and you're gonna feel like all the clothes you have are like good clothes, and you're just gonna like stick with what you have, and you're not gonna have this like urge to go and buy more so that you feel like you have clothes that you actually wear. So this is why decluttering and getting rid of stuff that you don't use and you don't wear is really important. It just makes you feel like you actually have enough clothes. The 8th one is something I've never tried, but I hear it all the time and it makes perfect sense, and it is to swap clothes with your friends or your family. Because let's face it, we all have clothes in our closet that we don't actually wear, and if we all have that problem, if we just switch with each other, it just makes sense, because I'm sure your friends have clothes that they would love to give you that they don't wear, and you have stuff that they would probably wear. And I think it's also great because you could get like new stuff in your closet, and it'll make you feel like you have like a fresh new wardrobe when it's like just switched around among different people. So definitely see if you can swap clothes, or just do like just share your clothes with other people, because you'll feel like you have a lot more without having to actually go out and physically buy more clothes. The 9th thing is to shop more local, and this honestly could go with more than just clothing, but shopping local does a couple things. One, it supports your local economy, so it's just great in that sense because it's giving back to your community. And then the other thing that it does is it gives money to smaller businesses so that they can thrive, and that they don't have to, so that they don't go out of business, rather than supporting bigger companies that put profit over people. So try to see if you can shop more local because of that. And then another thing is that usually smaller businesses, especially if they source locally, it's even more awesome because it's made there and then you buy it there, and it doesn't have to be shipped all around the world. And then the 10th thing is to support brands and companies that are trying to be more sustainable, because if you put your money where your mouth is and you kind of support the people who you want to support, then they will thrive, and then the people who you don't want to support, aka fast fashion, will kind of suffer, and they will have to move to do better things with their companies so that they don't go out of business. So definitely, if you have the money, you can like support these brands, even though they can be a little more expensive, but honestly it's for a good cause. And then if you don't have a lot of money, like aka me, definitely like shop more local, and like do shop at thrift stores. And even like I've heard Etsy stores a lot of times will have pretty decently priced clothes that are more ethical and sustainable. So those were my 10 tips to shop more sustainably. If you enjoyed this at all, definitely subscribe and comment down below which tip you think you're gonna use first. And if you got anything out of this, definitely comment down below what you thought of this video. And I'm so awkward sometimes. I'll have all my social media down below so you can follow me on my other websites. I have a Twitter and an Instagram that I'm pretty active on. Not so much Twitter, but definitely my Instagram. Definitely go down below so you can follow me on that. And that was it for today's video. If you enjoyed, of course subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.